Hello, everyone. My name is Nirma Tico Ortiz, and welcome to our Peaceful Classroom. Our Peaceful Classroom is a dedicated space where parents, teachers, and other professionals can come together to talk about different ideas on peace and promoting positivity in the lives of children and in teens. Today, we will be focusing our discussion on a very essential aspect of wellness, our financial wellness. I am sure many of you have worried about this, one time or another, and it has caused a lot of stress and anxiety. But don't fret, because today we have with us an expert who will help us shift our mindset towards financial wellness. Today we have Miss Maria Elvira Sison-Pascual, or known to many as Mayang. Mayang is a mother of four. She has a master's degree in family studies from Miriam College, and for the last 15 years, she has worked as a financial advisor and also manages a team of financial advisors in one of the top insurance companies in the world. So she basically helps different clients to prepare for unexpected life events. So we have an expert here with us today. So are we ready to listen? Let's now tune in. Welcome everyone to our session on how to thrive in a crisis. Financial wellness for educators, parents, and professionals. We have with us Ms. Mayang Sison-Pascual, who will share with us her expertise on this subject. Hi, Ms. Mayang. How are you today?
Hello.
All right.
Good. Thank you for asking.
I am sure everyone is concerned about their financial stability, especially now that we are under the pandemic. Could you, tell us how we can weather through this? But before that, can you just tell us about yourself and share with us your thoughts on financial wellness?
Okay, Mirma, thank you for that opportunity. I have been assisting people to prepare for the unexpected events in their lives as a financial advisor for the last 15 years.
Wow.
And currently, I'm servicing over 700 clients. And for
Wow.
that long. Now, for almost 10 years, I also manage and train a team of financial advisors in one of the top insurance companies in the world. So now more than ever, with this economic uncertainty this pandemic has brought upon us, it is crucial that educators, parents, and professionals are empowered to weather the storms of life and keep their families afloat.
Wow, that's amazing. I can't believe, 15 years and over 700 clients. I'm sure you've met
Yeah.
so many people from all walks of life in your 15 years of experience.
Oh, yes. Simple folks like food handlers at Bahay Pastulan of the Good Shepherd Sisters in Tagaytay, but mostly regular people like public school teachers. And it's good that they have job security in the GSIS, by the way, and have benefits to tie them over so that they are spared of the loss of salaries, also with private school teachers under these circumstances. But, it doesn't mean we are removed from being affected by the economic and financial repercussions of this trying time.
I agree. And I think even more that we should protect our income. Like they say, it's better now than sorry later.
That's right. So I would like to start off by sharing with you some studies on the top five most stressful life events. And they are the number one, of course, is the death of a loved one, which we have been experiencing now. And then the second is divorce or separation with a partner. Maybe because of the high stress levels at this time, people are really fighting over, the loss of jobs, which is on the fifth, But basically, when you are separating, the impact there is you'd be moving, relocating, because of the maybe the inability to pay rent, or maybe you're really just too in a very dense area, so you would want to relocate in a much lesser denser area in a safer place. And the major illnesses and injury, a coronavirus infection being our top,
Mm-hmm.
uh, our number one infection right now, and the quarantine period, of course,
Mm-hmm.
is a very stressful time for the family and for the ones who's infected.
Mm-hmm.
And it just goes to show that because of our economic situation right now, there are a lot of job losses
Yeah.
and change in the finances in the family.
Uh,
So in this trying time, we may be dealing with possibly three of the five top stressors: death, illness, and job loss.
that's right. That's right.
So we shall explore the financial and occupational repercussions of these stressors and learn more on how to mitigate and soften its impact on our
Mm-hmm.
lives and families. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very important that teachers who mostly interact with students whose parents may have lost their jobs might not be able to enroll their children in school in the coming term.
That's
And
right.
so, just to give you a background of how really stressful it is, we look at the unemployment statistics. You see that there are 7.3 million unemployed adults in April alone.
Wow.
So, and that's like 17.7% unemployment
Wow.
rate, which is the all-time high. And it also means that there's additional 5 million Filipinos who lost their jobs. And then when you're talking about here this year, we are projecting like 10 million workers will lose their jobs this year due to COVID-19.
Wow, Miss Mayang, I've heard that, on the news, many OFWs, have lost their jobs and many of them are back here in the Philippines. I'm sure that has created, a big impact in our remittances and, of course, in the economy of the Philippines.
Yes, that's very true, Mirma. In fact, the World Bank foresees remittances into the Philippines to fall by about 5% this
Oh,
year.
wow, that's a
And
large
this,
number.
yeah, and this could be a result of having almost 300,000 migrant workers returning home by the end of this year. And this is already the fourth quarter. So you could see there's a lot of balikbayans and OFWs coming home.
Yeah. Wow, these numbers are quite depressing to look at, I must say. But despite this, what can you share to us, some hope that we can look into? Can you tell us how we can equip our educators in helping parents and other professionals in alleviating some of these conditions many of our kababayans are experiencing now?
Yeah, so this being our present reality, we need to better equip teachers on how to handle parents and adults, siblings of students who are not financially prepared to cope with the sudden turn of events. So, allow me to share some ideas on how we can assist people in dealing with a financial crisis. First off, educators may want to begin by empathizing with parents who find themselves unprepared to handle a crisis of this proportion. Actually, we were not taught in school how to prepare for unexpected events such as
Mm-hmm.
what we have now. And we're not taught personal finance and how to save for a storm, much less invest and plan for a future that they want to envision for themselves, you see?
Miss Mayang, this is one thing that I think we all struggle with.
saving for the big storm. I'm really excited to hear some of your practical tips that you can give us.
Okay, but first let's look at some of the numbers again and see how many of us Filipinos actually have savings account. So when you look at the stats, there are 77.4 of the Filipino adults who do not have bank accounts. That's according to
Wow.
ESP. And only 15.8 million adult Filipinos, or an equivalent of 22.6%, have bank accounts.
Mhm.
That means that 52.8 million Filipinos remain unbanked. Now,
Mm.
we see that to be able to get into bank and make a deposit, you have so many requirements. So a lot of Filipinos don't have that in order to open. And so that's a majority of us that are living on hand-to-mouth existence or slightly above the poverty line. And this has serious implications, especially when we are faced with massive job losses this
Mhm.
year.
Mhm.
So with coronavirus not about to go away for the next few months or even until next year, now more than ever, we have to think of ways to prepare ourselves for these dreaded outcomes in this health crisis we are facing now.
So,
Yeah.
Miss Mayang, what are some strategies? These are all the realities that we're facing, and I'm sure everyone is so worried about it. But what are some strategies that our viewers can come up with to help themselves during this time?
Well, okay, first of all, if I were an educator listening to parents who are at their wits' end, making, ends meet, I would first listen to them again with empathy, then ask them to focus on solutions
Mhm.
after listening to their problems. And I would brainstorm with them to initially get over this hump on the road. And so we have to distinguish first between good debts and bad debts. So we
Mhm.
have to give them that context. An example of a good debt is financing a business. Another is having a bridge loan to tide you over while waiting for the money to get in from another source. So,
Mhm.
an example of a bad debt is to use your credit card for purchasing non essentials that
Oh,
depreciate over time,
so these
like
are your,
luxury
yeah.
items. Yes. Yeah, so to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, or
Yeah.
traveling abroad when you couldn't pay for the expenses from your own pocket. So that's one example of a bad debt.
So
All right?
what you're saying is that it's not bad to have debt or to have utang,
Yeah,
as long as the
yes.
money that you borrow will help
Mm-hmm.
create more income for you and your family.
That's correct.
Okay, all
That's
right.
correct. Okay, so in this time of COVID, there is no shame to be in debt for reasons of survival
Mm-hmm.
and overcoming a rough patch. For as long as there is a promise to back, you pay it back in
Mm-hmm.
some agreed future and to honor your word.
Okay.
So, number one, let's go to the next. So, find out if borrowing from a close friend or relatives that can provide you a bridge loan and it's free of interest and collateral is possible.
Mm-hmm.
When asking for this, remember to present a plan on how and when to repay it. Always acknowledge the debt if you cannot pay on time and present a new payment plan. So, wag niyong tataguan etong mga kaibigan ninyo.
Keep your word
And
nga
then,
naman.
yes, yes. Just acknowledge na hindi ko mababayaran ngayon. Kung pwede, bigyan pang ng konting paluwag. Yon.
Mm-mm.
Check also that if you can tap on cooperatives, government lending institutions, and other finance groups for loans, preferably with low interest rates and longer paying periods. Now, because central bank has also lowered their interest rates, there are a lot of banks who have lowered their interest rates, so there are loans. And there is a lot of help in terms of getting money. So there's
This
also
is
the
the
Bayani.
Bayaning Act, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, so that the financial institutions have also those who have already loans, they've also granted like a 60-day grace period for paying the loan. So may konting hinga, hindi ba?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So and then inquire also if relatives or friends can assist them in their need, that are have expertise in areas like medical care, so at least you don't have to pay for your
Yeah.
doctor's visits, hindi ba?
Mm-hmm.
Housing, loans, financial service providers, food, to whom you can pay for later, or you can ask for donation, di ba? Out of
Mm-hmm.
compassion to you and the family.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's important to have a short list of friends and associates, especially when they can give you temporary work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have a construction worker, a friend of a family that helps around fixing parts of the house, painting and so on, while he's in between jobs.
So
So it's
racket
it's it's
racket
it's good.
then. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And also you see if you have goods or services that you can barter. Oh, that would really be helpful in your budget. See,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can also resell them at a higher value, or you can scout for people willing to sell goods on consignment for you, like home cooked meals and protective gears and the like. So there. A lot of times we forget that we have assets and not
Mm.
that are non-performing in the house,
Mm.
like jewelry, excess furniture,
Mm-hmm.
unused table and kitchenware, linens, etc. And if one can let go of the car, kasi
Mm-hmm.
that's a big amount, no?
Yeah.
Instead ride a bicycle or commute. This will go a long way too, because you don't have to pay for amortization if you're still amortizing and so
That's
on.
right. That's right.
Diba?
Tama.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really about it's not really about being smart. No, it's what I'm trying to say is that it's really about being smart with the things that we have, like
Right.
having a good network of friends, and having a good relationship with our relatives. That is an
Yeah.
asset as well. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, having these resources, not necessarily like liquid funds, right? These are
Right.
also resources that we can look into for our
Mm-hmm.
short-term strategies.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, great tips,
Irma.
Miss Mayang. Great tips.
So, and now, we also would want to go on the medium term strategies. When I talk about short term, you're talking about several months. The medium term strategies could be 1 to 2 years. All right.
Mhm.
So, when we are looking at that, we are going to look at prospecting.
Mm.
Um, Especially in these dark times, let's inspect if we are really meant to be in the previous line of work. And this is assuming that, you've lost your job, or you're about to be terminated.
Mhm. Mhm.
So let's inspect. It may just be a stepping stone to a better one. So who knows if this is the best time to make that career shift that would turn your life around.
Mhm.
So also, you'd like to reassess the business environment and what the job market demands, because there will be a lot of jobs that will not be in existence in the next couple of years.
Oh yes.
And so you really need to review with what you have right now at present, what job skills you have, and if it will be like redundant in the next few years. So
Mhm.
I'd encourage parents and professionals to sharpen the hard and soft skills that got them employed in the first place, and also to convince them to recalibrate. Meaning,
Recalibrate.
yeah, recalibrate, like, for example, learn typing so that you can get online for transcribing, hindi
Mhm.
ba?
Yeah.
So, yeah, upgrade the skills that are currently in demand by taking online courses while on lockdown and searching for more permanent work. So, the economic landscape is rapidly changing, and certain areas need upgrades, while we go into more specialized skills that are emerging and it's vital to this new environment that we have. So lastly, I think in this particular uh, medium term is to retool or retrain My suggestion is the computer is going to be here to stay,
Mhm.
and so learn computer programming, take short courses on data analytics, for example. That's the biggest thing right now. So, and during the pre-SONA last July,
Mhm.
they have announced job ready skill certification and job sourcing platforms through Skills Window PH.
Mhm.
This is a government initiative that's worth looking into, because like TESDA, there may be no fees required.
Mm. So
Yeah.
you had to note also, you know that there are free courses on Coursera, from the top
Oh,
universities abroad. So this is a great place also for for our teachers, parents, and other professionals can look into to upgrade their skills.
oh, that's very good to know. So again, I would say the the next option also is to reinvent yourself. And maybe as a salesperson, if you are not yet, but I do believe that a salesperson will always be there,
Mhm.
a trader or a small business owner. So reinvent. And in the Manila Times of June, a news article from the Insurance Commission, they have invited people seeking jobs amid the coronavirus disease, and consider applying to insurance companies, because the financial services industry is thriving. And at this time of uncertainty, when people are realizing the need for health and life protection because of the pandemic. So here we see that the industry is recruiting, still
Mm.
recruiting. Yes. So top industry players are continuing to recruit financial advisors because of this demand.
So people
So
are
there are
really
so,
so
yes.
yeah, so people are really looking for security in this very insecure context that we're living in now.
Yeah, that's correct. So there are so many opportunities, Mirma, that are lurking around, and it's just a matter of sniffing them out. You see, there's a former teacher that I know and a former call center agent now is a voiceover for an international company. Okay, and most of all, um, people have to have the courage to take the bold steps in moving forward. And that's all it takes, really.
Talking about
Lakas
bold
ng
steps,
loob.
yeah, lakas ng loob, how important is that, to really step out of our comfort zone towards moving forward. How about you, for in your experience, how important was that for you?
Oh, yes, it's really imperative, because we need to manage our risk with the rising unpredictability of our current situation. So, for me, my experience is just so that I'm good at risk management, because that's my job. Okay,
Mhm.
so I would recommend that people have at least 3 to 6 months emergency fund, which is equivalent to about 3 to 6 months of your salary, so that when there is money, you don't have a job, at least there's money to pay the bills while you're still searching
Mm.
for a new job. Okay, so, and it may take about uh, 1 to 3 months to find a good one, or
Mm.
else you'll be settling, okay, for a job you don't like, because you need to pay the bills.
Mhm.
And on the other hand, when one is in business, it's really recommended that we have at least 6 to 12 months saved to cover family expenses in case of losses or break even months.
Mhm.
Also, with critical illness, if you have disability or a family crisis, that would really be like longer term. So, in terms of financial, of being financially well, financial advisors would highly recommend really that we set aside about 20 to 30% of our income
Mm.
for an emergency fund, a health and life insurance premium, an educational fund if you have children, and in the long term retirement.
Okay.
That may be asking so much, pero when faced with a crisis like this, it's better to have something that you can pull out,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
So, okay, so let's go now to insurance statistics, because we're in that subject now. So, according to the Philippine Insurance Commission, only 18.8% of Filipinos are covered by any type of insurance, be it travel insurance, health insurance, and very short insurance terms. Okay, so that and Standard and Poor's in their 216 surveys says that only 4% actually have adequate insurance, and that 89 of Filipinos are afraid that their families will not survive financially.
Mm.
So, don't you think it's ironic that 97% of Filipinos prioritize the family's health, and yet only 18.8% are prepared financially for illness or disability? So, there is a disconnect between their hopes, and
Mhm.
their visions, but then their action do not actually translate to that. Mm-hmm.
So what when you talk about, so earlier, yes, that I agree that it's very very ironic to see that huge the gap in the number. But earlier you also mentioned adequate insurance. What does that mean in layman's term?
Well, okay, so if you are in good health and even slightly compromised health wise, it may not yet be too late for you to get life insurance. Life insurance policy adequate would means that it has a critical illness rider. That if
Mm.
suddenly you get sick, you have the funds to get yourself well. Okay, and that if you are in an emergency, you have accessible funds for emergencies, and it's easily, you can easily get it in about 5 working days.
Mhm.
And then as I said, it will cover medical expenses and final expenses in case of death. When you need money for whatever reason, you can withdraw the dividends or earnings, or even borrow from the insurance in case that you have a job that you lost. So that's very helpful. And when you talk about final expenses, after that, you have a little left over for transitioning your family in with a life that's out, that you're not no longer there.
Mhm.
Okay, without the economic contribution of the deceased breadwinner. So those are the things that when you say if a person has adequate insurance, it covers all the four.
Mm.
Uh, there, I think we have that in the slide. If you
Yeah.
can
What
pull
can I
it
say?
up.
There it is.
Yeah, yeah. So those are the ones. Easily accessible emergency fund, covers medical expenses,
Mhm.
it's withdrawable, and you have transition funds
Mm.
for and it's tax free, by the
All
way.
right.
So the
That's the best
government
part.
will
Yeah.
not, yeah, will not dip into those savings and investments of yours. So just the last word on that. So I'd like to quote Tony Gordon, one of the best known names in the world of financial services. He said, start thinking of insurance not as a religion. You don't have to believe in it. Rather, look at it as a tool for risk management.
Mm, I,
Don't you agree?
I agree. I agree to that. And, if we cannot control what will happen in the future, at least, we have to be ready to address when it comes, right? So I totally agree
Correct.
with that.
So, moving forward, may I give you like some tasks for people who would really want to start off being financially well. So, given the framework above, you can
Mhm.
craft your own short-term, medium-term, and long-term strategies. I'll just give a number of questions. Okay, so in task one, okay, we make a list. So, who can throw you a lifeline?
Mhm.
What kind of help will they give you? What resources and assets do you have that you can barter or sell? Or what institutions you can ask for a loan that has low interest, no? So that. And then again, the task 2, okay, do the 5 R's, okay? So what will you review? What will you reassess? What will you recalibrate, retrain, or retool? And how will you reinvent yourself? And that's the last one. So there's a lot of pencil pushing here so that you can act.
A
So
lot of
that's
reflecting also.
yes, right. So task 3. Now here's where you envision, prepare, and act. So make a vision board. How libre naman managinip, di ba? Bakit hindi natin
Reimagine. Oh, let's
gawin? Yeah,
reimagine our life.
right. So live, make a vision board of the life you love to live into. And then ask yourself, now, what are your financial goals? In the industry, you ask for, oh, what kind of income do you want to have when you don't have the income, that you're not actively seeking for the income? What kind of passive income do you want? And about health, what if you get sick? How much money do you want set aside for your health or critical illness? What about your retirement? How much money do you think will you need to have in order to retire well? And if you have kids, you need to save for their education. And then investment also. And when you're like in your 60s or 70s, you look at how to distribute so your wealth. So you look at estate planning. So when you look at that at your age, a certain age, then you rank the priority of these financial goals. And you see, financial advisors are expert in their field. You are experts in your own field. So leave it to the experts to help to assist you in coming up with your financial needs analysis, and then how you're going to make it happen for yourself and your family. Now, at the very least, you have to list down your monthly expenses and see if you can come up with a disposable income for your budget to pay for your insurance premiums. Now, a lot of people would say, oh, but my income is just enough for my expenses. So how am I going to put in, I don't have the disposable income. And I would say, hey, you create it. It doesn't stop you because you're a teacher. You'll stop being a teacher. But if you need, to secure a future, then go into something that you'll be able to create additional income. Teachers are very smart that way, diba? So that's about it, actually, Mirma.
So, I really like this, Miss Mayang. It's really a strong reminder to only spend within our means. And whenever we want to secure our future, I think we need to do our part as well and to go the extra mile, right?
True.
And when we talk about going the extra mile, it's also being wise about how we spend our money. All those
Correct.
sales can wait. All those, online sales can
Yes.
wait. And to really prioritize and to also have a very clear understanding of the needs versus the wants.
True. Yeah. So we have to remember, by becoming financially free and abundant is a lifelong project. I've been in this industry for 15 years. I'm still in this project of being financially free and abundant. It actually never ends because there's so many things that, you want for yourself and your family. So we just build and build on them. So, and the first thing we need to do is to be financially literate and financially intelligent about these things. So read up, consult a financial advisor so that they can, journey with you step by step along the way. And then, of course, while we trust these people with our money, we need to also trust in the Lord, that the Lord will provide eventually, for everything, for our needs, because He gave us capabilities and resources and the people to create those funds for the time when we need it most. So at the end of the day, what is important is for educators to assist parents and professionals to envision a future of hope. As what you said, there hope? Yes, there is, Mirma. There is certainly hope. And this crisis, it will pass. We too shall overcome this struggle we have by believing in ourselves first and foremost, while keeping our faith in a loving and merciful God. And with that, I'd like to really thank you and Miriam and the Child and Family Circle for inviting me to be able to share what I have in this webinar. Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Mayang, for taking time to share your expertise and teaching us that it is possible. At this time
Yes,
of
it is.
uncertainty, it is possible, and there are things that we can do to address it and to really move forward to become more financially well. So truly, tama din po yung sinabi niyo sa huli. Nasa tao ang gawa, nasa Diyos ang awa. So maraming salamat po sa inyo, Miss Mayang.
Thank you also. And God bless.
Yes, God bless everyone. Thank you all for watching. Bye.
Okay, bye.
I hope that today's episode has allowed us to realize that it's never too late to start taking steps to securing our future. The tips given to us by Miss Mayang are very practical and will help us break free from the chains that is holding us down to achieving our financial goals. Today, we were invited to review our skills, reassess our capacities and environment, recalibrate and retrain to upgrade our skills, and to never stop learning new things so that we can reinvent ourselves. Let's open our minds and get into it. Remember, having a plan, no matter how big or small, is better than having nothing at all. Friends, we may not know what the future holds, but with a great plan, a financial plan, we will be able to prepare and help our families weather the storm that come our way. Now, before I let you go today, I would like to invite you, our educators and professionals, or even our parents out there, to check out our certificate program of Miriam College that will give you tools on nonviolent conflict resolution and peace education. The certificate program in Peace and Conflict Resolution Education starts this coming January 2021. If you'd like more information on this, you may write to Dr. Loretta Castro using the email address of the Center for Peace Education. That's cpe@mc.edu.ph. Thank you all for watching. Once again, my name is Mirma Tico Ortiz from Miriam College. See you again here at our sacred space, our peaceful classroom.